Hello guys, today I will show you one of the worst examples of duplicated queries in Laravel I've ever seen while reviewing the junior's code. I will try to explain why, maybe, and we will try to refactor that, optimize it with AI. Also, along the way, we'll talk about Livewire, view composers, and caching. So let's begin. The example is relatively simple homepage, public page with a lot of CMS details like hero, footer, header, and a lot of links. The problem with that page is at the bottom in the Laravel debug bar. Let me zoom that in and put it up. 57 database queries, 40 of them duplicates. And if we look at those duplicates, most of them are very simple queries like select the first record from somewhere, like from hero section. So why is that duplicated? Let's take a look at the code. So here's the code I was asked to review. The homepage, public page, blade, which includes a lot of Livewire components. And if we go to guest header, for example, there are a few database queries to get the data for the home page. Like, for example, hero first or fail for hero section. But if we go to guest header here, the hero is used here. But if we go to another include of another Livewire component, we have guest hero blade file where hero is fetched again from the database and is done directly in the blade component instead of controller or Livewire component class. Not only that, there's the third layer of xgradient background, for example, where hero is passed as a parameter to the Livewire component. But if we go here, look on top. Hero is fetched again. So this is the reason for all those duplications. The same things are fetched from the database again and again with the deeper layers of Livewire components. Why is that? When I was trying to justify or interpret how that developer thought, I thought like this. Maybe I'm wrong here, but maybe they were developing those pages separately as includes, getting the data exactly where they need it at that time, and only then built the full page with all the data needed, and they didn't just remove that, they just kind of forgot about it in the deeper layers. Maybe you have some other way to explain it, then put your versions in the comments below. Now let's try to fix it, at least a little, because refactoring all the thing would take hours. So let's start with one Livewire component, full screen image, which has hero as a parameter, and we can remove it from the top because it's passed to Livewire component. So we don't need to refetch it. And now if we reload our page, we should have 56 queries as expected. The page itself should load the same thing. Let's double check if it actually works. This is another downside with that project that I've been reviewing. There are no automated tests, so I can't be 100% sure if I didn't break anything, but it looks okay. So the first thing, if you pass the parameter, you don't need to refetch it from the database. The second case is, what if you don't pass the parameter? So then in your Livewire component in the class, you refetch it again. For some reason, even twice in this case. Don't ask me why, so I will just blindly delete this one. And then in guest hero, you refetch it again. No comments here, also blindly delete. But the question is, do you really need this one when it is already fetched in the parent component in the kind of controller here? So you need some kind of a global mechanism to pass the parameters to whatever layer down below in the blade. In this case, Livewire, but it could be blade just in Laravel. And for that, I will open Laravel docs, and you could use a structure called view composer or view share. There are a few ways to deal with that. If you want to just pass some key and value pair, you can do it directly in the app service provider with view share, like this. If it's more complex, you can create a separate class, view composer, register it in the same app service provider, and have more logic with view with. But let's make it more simple, and let's add something like this to the app service provider of this application. So I open the boot method of that service provider. I don't even look at the other code, and let's go view, which is support facade share, for example, global hero, and then we have hero first, something like this. Or in fact, let's use the same variable to avoid more refactoring, and let's remove it here from guest header. Let's remove it also here from guest hero, and let's refresh the page. So currently we have 54 queries after a few smaller optimizations I made earlier. Let's zoom out to see if the page would still work. Refresh, it still works. Nothing really changed visually, but now we have 52 queries as you can see below. So view share or view composer is kind of the way to pass global data to global system or to specific views. For example, you can specify that the view share or view composer is active only on specific blade files or with asterisk. So file by file, we can eliminate the queries, we can use view share or view composer for global things. And I'm pretty sure that this homepage could be optimized to something like 20 queries or so. And of course, it's a big amount of work to look through all the changes in all the files. Maybe AI could help with that. So I have opened my Cursor AI editor and we will try to ask LLM, which is Claude under the hood, to refactor the project to minimize the duplicated queries. In the past, I've used Cursor to generate the code, and I even have the full course on Laravel Daily to create Laravel hotel booking website, but I haven't really tried for refactoring. So existing project, pretty big with a lot of files, so a lot of context. Will it handle optimizing the queries? Let's try. So I've opened the new chat with this blade, and also we'll add a context of full Livewire folder. So we choose files or folders, Livewire, the full folder here. And how do we ask for refactoring? We could do it in a general, simple human language like this. Check for duplicate eloquent queries and refactor the code to minimize them. What would be the result? Send, generating, and something is cooking. Okay, I've waited for it to finish. It took roughly a minute, and let's review together. So it identified multiple public page queries in various components, also role-based queries. And what does it suggest? A service class for public page with cache. So something like this that would be used probably in Livewire components. Yes. So in the component, we would have, instead of those queries, we would have a service class that is called once with cache then, and then we just use those array items. In a similar fashion, same refactoring for another service where it is used in another Livewire component. So this is what Cursor is suggesting. And in general, it is a good suggestion. The question is, did it hallucinate somewhere or miss some details? Because LLMs sometimes do. And again, I don't have automated tests to quickly test it, so let's just blindly accept the changes and refresh the homepage. Will it load, and how many queries do we have? Accept all in the Cursor, and fingers crossed, refresh, and we have the error, Livewire guest call to action not found. This is why you cannot fully trust AI. I found a reason. Look at this refactoring. So change the refactoring to use service, but look at the file in the view. It was Livewire public guest call to action, but suddenly public is lost in the new version. It's just Livewire. So I will fix it manually, public here, and now if I refresh the page, it loads well. And now we have 43 queries to the database, some of them cached. If we refresh again, we still have 43, but some of them come from the cache. So generally, AI made a good job, but you need to double and triple check everything that AI generates or refactors. So what I would do in this case, probably go manually to identify specific queries and then put specific prompt into AI to suggest the refactoring for those. And then query by query, we can optimize this down to 20 queries or so. What do you think about all of this? Would you refactor in a similar way or differently? Let's discuss everything in the comments below. That's it for this time, and see you guys in other videos.